Hey everyone, how's it going? All right. So, we got another exciting one today. If you were here at the last live stream on Friday, we were talking about Sam Altman getting fired from OpenAI and chatgpt. And if you've been following the story at all, or if you haven't been following the story at all, we're going to break down today everything you need to know because the weekend, as shocking as the firing was, the weekend after it was even crazier. There had been so many moving pieces, so many things said by the most prominent figures, including Sam Altman, the other team members at OpenAI who were fired, the people who replaced them. There's been so many politics that are being played, and today we're going to cover it. So I'm going to get some chill music playing, and we'll get into it. So let's start with some just really chill music. Hold on one second. I want to get that started. If the volume gets too loud or it's too quiet, just let me know. Okay, so basically where we're at with the whole story. So starting with last Friday, Sam Altman was fired, and there was lots of theories going around. There was lots of people saying Microsoft pulled the trigger. They wanted Sam Altman out so they could take over the company. But there's been a lot of development since then. So I think the first thing to do is kind of back up to where we were Saturday. So we had Sam Altman was fired, and then Greg, the president, he also quit. So let's go to Sam's Twitter account, and we'll kind of work our way through the timeline of events. So here we are. We go back to Friday. Okay, so here was Sam's tweet, and same with Greg. At first, we weren't sure if Greg had been fired, if he quit. So what we learned was this caught Sam and Greg completely off guard, and it also caught a lot of other workers at OpenAI off guard. So basically, the board member consisting of about 4 or 5 individuals, which we'll cover a little bit later on, they decided, Sam, you're done. We no longer need you here. And we'll get into reasons why later on as well. But they said, hey, Sam, we're done. No longer need you. They didn't really consult any of the big investors. And they gave Sam the boot. And Greg, who's the co-founder, started it many years ago with Sam, said, you know what, I'm walking. I'm not going to let anyone else do this. So, yeah, this was the statement from Greg. And yeah, like you can see, he was fired over Google Meet. Can you imagine Sam Altman getting fired over Google Meet? No, there really wasn't much communication about it. Lots of theories were circulating. People were going back and looking at Developer Day on the 6th and looking for any clues because that was Sam's last public appearance with OpenAI. There wasn't really any hints ahead of time. So Sam got a text from Ilya, who's another high-level member, and he'll be a key piece that we'll cover in a bit. Sam joined Google Meet, and the whole board except Greg was there. Ilya told Sam he was being fired and that the news was going out very soon. At 12:19, Greg got a text asking for a quick call, got a Google Meet link, and he was removed via the board. And wow. Sam Altman, it's crazy to think that someone like Sam Altman logs into a Google Meet link and he's fired from the board. And we didn't know why. It was just some big mystery. And as far as we knew, the management team was made aware of this shortly after, other than Mira, who found out the night prior. So Mira Murati, the CTO, who was the interim CEO, she really it wasn't like some weeks-long planned thing. And yeah, at first we were speculating on Friday who knew what, how long it's been known. Turns out people really didn't know that much. This was kind of like a quick decision from the board, and with a couple people inside, Ilya being one of them who had a big role. He was fired over Google Meet. Yes, Carrie. It was to think that Sam Altman, someone I mean, it's never easy to get fired virtually, but I imagine, when you're the CEO of a company, it's crazy to think that he doesn't. I've pictured he was going to walk into a board meeting with people. It's a discussion, or maybe it was. I just imagine it in person. I think a lot of people felt that. But one of the funnier and maybe ironic things about it is that a Microsoft, like a company that's heavily invested in via Microsoft, is still meeting via Google Meet. There's lots of people saying that's how bad Microsoft Teams are. I've never used Microsoft Teams, so I can't speak to it. But I thought it was funny and ironic that a Microsoft and heavily invested Microsoft company is using Google Meet. So, yeah, I mean, that's just that alone right there is just funny to me, or weird. I don't know. So yeah, fired via Google link or Google Meet, and that's when we heard from Greg. So that was on Friday night. Then Sam tweeted this out. It's not like I died. It feels like a eulogy. Ton of support. Everyone was like super supportive of Sam. I've never seen so many people take one person's side. It was real. It wasn't like, well, Sam is, a bad person and good that he got. No, everyone was, I can't believe it. This is sad, shocking. And OpenAI and the board members quickly became the villains of this whole story. So this tweet was really funny. If you know Sam Altman he doesn't have shares in chatgpt or OpenAI. A lot of I'm not exactly sure how he profited from the project. I imagine he just got cash or some other sort of investment. But yeah, he doesn't actually own any shares. So he's saying if I start going off, the board should go after me for the full value of my shares. Basically, just kind of like a little quip at the board. And this was funny because Mr. Beast even chimed in, right? Like Mr. Beast, I know, having watched Mr. Beast content, that he's involved with, he keeps up with AI updates. And yeah, everyone was like, what the heck's going on? Still up to this point, nobody knew who knew what. And I actually saw a lot of stuff being directed at like Mira and other people. And people were saying that Microsoft was trying to oust them. It was like a lot of quick to judge things, which turned out to not be true. But yeah, this was like, Friday morning or Friday night, Saturday morning. People are still like, what the heck's going on? So here's where things started to get interesting. So Saturday, people are still like, what's going on? Sam doesn't tweet much. Then Sam tweets this picture. The picture that was, if you, click the thumbnail, you recognize this picture. So Sam was a guest at OpenAI. So this is when rumors started to circulate that Sam might actually not be fired for long. Rumors came out that Microsoft was very upset with what the board did. It made it seem like the board was very rogue. They acted quickly for some unknown reason, and Microsoft was not happy that Sam was leaving, because Sam was going to be he's the reason why OpenAI had such a big valuation. Without Sam, you can kiss that $90 million valuation goodbye, and a lot of money for the investors, Microsoft being one of them, goodbye. So people are like, Microsoft called the board and they're like, hey, we need to fix this. I don't know what Sam did that was so wrong, but whatever he did, it wasn't good enough for you to justify the firing. So yeah, people said, this is when rumors started to come around that there's a lot of support on the inside OpenAI for Sam, and that team members might be quitting and following Sam. And there was a lot of, is Sam coming back? It turned really quickly. People were like, convinced that Sam was going to come back and be the new CEO, and the board was going to be replaced. So here we have, he's a guest. People are speculating. Yeah, the Uno reverse. This was probably my favorite one. When you're in a board, you think you have all the power. Well, it turned out pretty quickly that was not the case. So, moving along. This was a picture of Sam from Jason, another worker at OpenAI. And we'll get into some of Jason's tweets in just a bit. Yes, so Satya Nadella, chairman and CEO of Microsoft. So this is a very key figure. If you've seen Developer Day, Satya and Sam were on stage together going over chatgpt and Microsoft integrations. These two work very closely together. A lot of people were analyzing their interactions, trying to look for clues of any signs of soon-to-be firing. So this morning, or is it this morning? Yeah, early this morning, Satya tweeted this out. We remain committed to our partnership with OpenAI and have confidence in our product roadmap, our ability to continue and innovate with everything we announce at Microsoft Ignite, and in continue to support our customers and partners. We look forward to getting to know Emmett Shear and OpenAI's new leadership team and working with them. And we're extremely excited to share the news that Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, together with colleagues, will be joining Microsoft to lead a new advanced AI research team. We look forward to moving quickly to provide them with resources needed for their success. Okay, so a lot to unpack in this message. So Emmett Shear, if you don't know, Emmett Shear is the new CEO of OpenAI, and we'll cover that and a little bit of his background. But yes, so Sam and Greg essentially were going to be taking a ton of team members from OpenAI, and now they're just going to be working inside Microsoft. So instead of a new company, the plan was, hey, all these team members are going to be coming with me. Now, this was a very popular tweet over the weekend, over the last day. Sam was reply tweeting to people that would be essentially joining him. So if you saw the red heart in a quote tweet, that meant this person was going to be leaving OpenAI to go work with Sam. So as board members start to see this, you have tons of people that Sam's replying to. So if you're a board member and you see someone tweeting these things, they're essentially saying, hey, we're done. If Sam's not here, I'm not here. So perhaps one of the most shocking twists of all was Mira Murati, right? In the beginning, a lot of people said Mira was on the part of the coup that got Sam Altman ousted from OpenAI. But as it turns out, she didn't want this to happen at all. She was Team Sam, and she's like, I don't want to be part of this. She was probably briefed the night before, said, okay, I'll be the interim CEO. It's a big decision. Then once it actually happened, thought about it, and next thing you know, she's like, nah, I'm not. This isn't for me. So yeah, a ton of people were tweeting out. They're basically gone. And perhaps the biggest tweet is from Ilya. As I mentioned earlier, Ilya is one of the leaders at OpenAI. I don't know his exact role, but I know he's one of the smartest people there. I've seen him talked about a lot. I know I've seen him brought up in interviews. He's one of the most sought after minds in tech. And he tweeted this out. I deeply regret my participation in the board's actions. I never intended to harm OpenAI. I love everything we built together, and I will do everything I can to reunite the company. So a very popular rumor that's been going around is that OpenAI discovered what's called AGI, or artificial general intelligence. Basically, people think that AGI is a big threat to humanity, where AI can become self-aware, and that could lead to a lot of dangers. And in a recent interview, which we'll go over in a bit as well, Sam said there have been like 4 times in company history where they've kind of pushed back, or not completely neglected safety, but they said, you know what, we're going to try to be trendsetters and really push the boundaries here to explore just breakthroughs regardless of, safety. And they said they just recently found one. So people were putting 2 and 2 together, and they were thinking that Ilya might have gone to the board and said, hey, Sam is putting us at risk. We just made a discovery. This could be a threat to humanity. And the board's goal, combining with the nonprofit and the for-profit branch, the nonprofit branch of OpenAI. So obviously it started as a nonprofit, and now they're seeking to become profitable, and they're a multi-billion-dollar company. The nonprofit branch is tasked with making sure that OpenAI is safe and the AI that they create is safe. Well, the board, the rumors are that Ilya, threw the flag and said, Sam might be doing some things that are not so safe. And the board must have felt strongly enough to where they said, hey, this is fireable. We can't keep you here. Too much risk. And we still don't know why. Just to clarify, people are demanding that the board say what the heck happened. That is something that we haven't figured out yet, but we're trying to. And I imagine we'll know sooner, or in the near future. Because starting between yesterday and today, it was actually rumored before the Microsoft news came out that Sam Altman was actually going to be rehired and that the board was going to get fired. There was, as of Sunday evening, there was like a 5 p.m. deadline. We can look this up. Sam Altman deadline. Okay, here's where it started. So we have OpenAI board in discussions with Sam Altman to return as CEO. Altman was suddenly fired on Friday night. The OpenAI board is in discussions with Sam to return as company CEO, according to multiple people familiar with the matter. One of them said Altman was suddenly fired by the board on Friday. And a lot of this is because the board was like, well, they realized if Sam left, that they're not going to have a company to run. So Altman says the board has agreed in principle to resign and allow Altman and Greg Brockman to return, but has since waffled, missing a key 5 p.m. deadline. So yes, people were waiting last night, and it sounded like they were just working out final terms. And of course, this wouldn't be obviously this isn't going to be a straightforward story, right? Everything has to be complicated. Well, they missed the 5 p.m. deadline, and yeah, they learned, or said last night after we learned OpenAI was trying to get Altman back, the board was waffling. Chief Strategy Officer Jason Kwan told employees that the company is optimistic about Altman returning. Remember, Jason Kwan was one of the people that Sam was quote tweeting with the heart. So basically, Jason Kwan was saying he's out. Meanwhile, a bunch of OpenAI employees took to X to voice their support of Altman with the heart emoji. Altman, holding talks with the company just a day after he was ousted, indicates that OpenAI is in a state of free fall without him. Hours after he was axed, Greg Brockman, OpenAI's president and former board chair, resigned, and 2 have been talking to friends and investors about starting another company. A string of senior researchers also resigned on Friday, and people close to OpenAI say more departures are in the works. So yeah, as you can see, the board clearly didn't think this through. If this was a really well sought after or well made decision that was thought out and had all these plans and backroom discussions, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty clear that this never happened, because the board had no idea how people would react. because based off the reaction that we got, there's no way that these people knew. There's no way that the board had talked to these people, because everyone is basically saying, hey, Sam goes, we're quitting. There's no reason for us to stay. If Sam leaves, you thought the show was going to keep rolling on with us. No, like, we're all quitting. If Sam goes, you're not going to have any of the minds that you thought would be here. So you're essentially starting over from scratch on your biggest investment, right? Or arguably biggest investment. There might be others, who knows? But they put in billions and billions of dollars, and Microsoft definitely does not want a company to just lose all of its employees, right? That's what makes the startup so special. So it's the face of the company. Voice AI's removal throws the future open and uncertainty at a time when rivals are racing to catch up, right? Like, with custom GPTs, there might have been issues with scalability and server outages, but the company was doing pretty well, all things considered. It had the brand name in the AI space. It didn't respond. OpenAI's current board consists of chief scientist Ilya and Quora CEO Adam D'Angelo, former GeoSim. Okay. Unlike traditional companies, the board isn't tasked. So you can see there's only 4 people on this board. It's not exactly a big board. Unlike traditional companies, the board isn't tasked with maximizing shareholder value, and none of them hold equity in OpenAI. Instead, their stated mission is to ensure the creation of broadly beneficial artificial intelligence, or AGI, or artificial general intelligence. See, so here's what I mentioned earlier. This part of the company, the board, is not for the profit branch. It's not about the business. It's just about what they're actually doing and making sure everything's safe. So a lot of people have reasons to believe that there might have been something they deemed unsafe, and that was the reason for the sudden and abrupt firing. Okay, so Sutskever, who also co-founded OpenAI and leads its researchers, was instrumental in the ousting of Altman this week, according to multiple sources. His role suggests a power struggle between the research and product sides of the company. And so this is Ilya, by the way. And Ilya, who we mentioned earlier, regretted his role in the firing of Sam. So he took responsibility. He still didn't say exactly why he played a role in what he did, but people knew that he had a hand and were suspecting that he had a hand in the firing. And after bypassing another 5 p.m. deadline, we learned that the deal for Sam Altman's return has fallen apart. OpenAI now has its third CEO in one weekend, with former Twitch boss Emmett Shear taking over. So yes, to move on to Emmett Shear. Emmett Shear. Let's see which one looks good. We can also look, I think, so Emmett Shear. Searching on X is very difficult. Okay, maybe not. Hold on. Anyways, who is Emmett Shear, OpenAI's interim CEO, replacing Sam Altman? So chatgpt, or maker OpenAI, named ex-Twitch boss Emmett Shear as the interim chief executive officer after the startup ousted Sam Altman. Shear, who is part of the first batch of startup accelerator Y Combinator along with Altman, is known as an outspoken advocate on the safety and development of artificial intelligence. Shear on Monday shared a plan for next steps at OpenAI, saying he would look to reform the startup's management team and hire an independent investigator to dig into Altman's departure. Shear 40 stepped down as CEO of Amazon-owned Twitch this March after more than 16 years at the live streaming platform. Yeah, so I mean, clearly he has a bunch of experience, smart person, worked in tech, but I mean, it is kind of crazy. Like, who knows? He's another interim CEO because Mira Murati clearly, like we mentioned earlier, stepped away or didn't want the role to be a CEO, and was basically saying, "Hey, I'm joining wherever Sam goes." So we have every reason to believe that she's going to be joining the Microsoft AI team if Sam goes there. So yeah, let's see. So to recap, Sam gets fired. Rumors are he's going back to OpenAI, and then that quickly changes. Then Satya from Microsoft says, hey, Sam is coming to Microsoft. He's going to form his team, and he's joining us. So let's go Sam's Twitter account real quick. Okay, the OpenAI leadership team, particularly Mira Murati, the former interim CEO, Brad and Jason, but really all of them have been doing an incredible job through this that will be in the history books. Incredibly proud of them. Then we got a response. We have more unity and commitment and focus than ever before. We are all going to work together somewhere or the other. I'm so excited. One team, one mission. Satya and my top priority remains to ensure OpenAI continues to thrive. We are committed to fully providing continuity of operations to our partners and customers. The OpenAI and Microsoft partnership makes this very doable. So something very interesting is that at no point does Sam say that this is official. It says the mission continues, right? But there hasn't been any, and while this is an announcement, we look forward to getting to know the new CEO. They say they will be joining. Yes, you could say it's an announcement, but that's also, I mean, there's a lot of speculation because we also saw this news story. Where is it? Okay. So where are we? Okay, so here's when we saw this story break from Rowan. Sam Altman is still trying to return as OpenAI CEO. The Microsoft deal is not yet finalized. Ilya Sutskever has also flipped to support Altman, but 2 more board members must change their minds for Sam Altman and Greg Brockman to return. So with a board of 4, it sounds like there's a couple people that are still not on the same page. I mean, you have to imagine there's all the politics that are going on behind the scenes for the board members who are willing to bring Sam back. It might be awkward. They might lose their jobs as board members. So maybe some people might not be willing to give up their position. Maybe people still feel very strongly about what happened. We just don't know what happened. But yeah, so that the holdup is there's still a couple board members who are like, we're not getting out of here. You get out of here, Sam. So there's this article from Bloomberg that I wanted us to look at. OpenAI investors led by Thrive angled to bring back Altman. So this was from Bloomberg. This was just updated within like the last 30 minutes. So this is like where we're at right now. Before we kind of go back into like what has been said and all the recap. OpenAI investors bring back Altman. Microsoft has signaled it would oppose such an outcome. Some investors are mulling lawsuits against OpenAI board. So OpenAI investors are still trying to return co-founder Sam Altman to leadership role at ChatGPT maker. Microsoft Core has signaled that it wouldn't oppose such an outcome. So I think that as long as Microsoft is still working with Sam Altman, because I mean, when he's at OpenAI, they're still working together. I think that Microsoft is like, you know what, we're still working with you. go do what makes you happy. Well, there's a place here for you at Microsoft, or you can go do your own thing at OpenAI. We get it. You started OpenAI. All right. So Thrive Capital, Khosla Ventures, and Tiger Global Management, I've seen that name before, are looking to secure their investment after the OpenAI board forced out Altman on Friday, according to people familiar with the matter. Altman is eager to return, said the people who requested an anonymity. I can never pronounce that word. Please don't make fun of me. To discuss confidential negotiations. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and other investors spent Saturday and Sunday trying to get Altman and former OpenAI president Greg Brockman rehired. On Sunday night, OpenAI interim CEO Mira Murati told a board member she planned to bring them back, but the directors decided instead to name former Twitch chief Emmett Shear as CEO, bypassing Murati and the investors. So this is big right here. Okay, so let's just read this again. On Sunday night, OpenAI interim CEO Mira Murati told the board member she planned to bring them back, Greg and Sam, but the directors instead named former Twitch chief Emmett Shear as CEO. So just a quick, how do you think that the CEO or the employees responded to this? Well, here's a tweet from Alex Heath. New CEO Emmett Shear has so far been unable to get written documentation of the board's reasons for firing Altman, which also haven't been shared with investors. Employees responded to his announcement in OpenAI Slack with a not so nice emoji. I didn't even know they made that type of emoji. I'm just surprised. Just a random tangent. I know most of you probably didn't even think that's probably like, wait, that's your takeaway? Yeah, I don't know. Just surprised. But interesting to see. I don't think it's Emmett's fault. I don't know anything about him. I don't think it's directed at Emmett. It's more just the situation. Like, hey, you're making all these decisions really quickly and calling everyone a CEO now. We've had 3 CEOs in 3 days. Like, if there's anything that says like it's a complete mess, I don't think it's ever been more obvious than seeing a multi-billion-dollar company have 3 CEOs in a weekend. We still have like 5 days left in the week. We could honestly set a record. If Sam comes back, I'm calling that a 4th. So yeah, basically just an absolute mess. Right, so it's announced they got Emmett Shear. Not long after, Microsoft, OpenAI's biggest investor by far, said it was hiring Altman, Brockman, and unnamed colleagues to a new artificial intelligence unit that Altman would run as CEO. So we did cover that. Now it turns out Microsoft would be amenable to Altman and Brockman returning to OpenAI, albeit with a couple key conditions. The startup's current board would have to resign, and OpenAI's governance would have to change to ensure that such upheaval can never happen again. Basically, like, they're re-looking at their firing procedures, because if you're just firing someone, you can't find yourself. Whatever procedures they had before, every company should learn what it is just so they know to never do it that way, because OpenAI clearly is writing the book on how to not fire people or run like one of the biggest tech companies in the world. But whatever. It's things you can't learn in business school, right? But it will be taught in business school, I'm sure. Now it turns out Microsoft would be amenable to Altman and Brockman return to OpenAI, albeit with a couple key conditions. Startup current board have to resign. OpenAI's government. Yeah. Okay, just read that. Great job. Irrespective of where Sam is, he's working with Microsoft. So kind of like what I just said. I'm on the same page as the Microsoft CEO. Great minds think alike. You know what I mean? Nadella said in an interview with Bloomberg TV. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, wherever Sam's at, it sounds like he's going to either be OpenAI or with Microsoft directly. Either way, he's working close with Satya, right? Microsoft key goal is to ensure continued access to leading-edge AI technology for customers and partners, the people said. The company may consider asking for an increased role on OpenAI's board. Though Microsoft previously feared doing so would anger regulators, the company now believes stabilizing its partnership with OpenAI far outweighs the regulatory risk. So this is another fair point. Microsoft. So we have to remember, even though Microsoft is this trillion-dollar company, one of the biggest companies in the world, they're not the ones who created this AI and all had the AI breakthroughs. That was OpenAI. Microsoft is utilizing OpenAI to help their business. So even though OpenAI is smaller, Microsoft, you could argue, needs OpenAI. And yeah, so people are afraid if Microsoft, so OpenAI is supposed to build, I mean, even though they're not open source, like their name, OpenAI says anymore, they started out open source. That's a whole big thing of controversy. OpenAI got their name, they were open source, then they went and they were nonprofit, then they went closed source for profit after getting a ton of money. So that's where there's been a lot of controversy from their earlier days. But yeah, they're basically, it would seem kind of unfair that ChatGPT, which was unleashed to the world from a private company, now can just be bought by Microsoft and have the leading AI technology run by Microsoft. Now the integration is still there. I don't know how much control or lack of control Microsoft now has. It honestly feels like it's, to me, in my eyes, I still feel like it's still the same company. Whether who owns what, based off how many shares or percentage of shares that are owned, I don't really think that separates them all that much. I still think of them as one. So yeah, the risk is still there, I guess, if you're worried about Microsoft just having complete control over the AI, as opposed to like being this open source project. So investors led by Thrive Capital have been planning to offer to buy shares from OpenAI employees. So we did a live stream on this. Looking at the viewers in the chat, I know a lot of you are familiar and some of our most loyal viewers. So thank you for tuning in. And you know that we've kind of covered on the channel OpenAI $90 billion valuation. And yeah, that was before Sam Altman gets fired. Sam Altman gets fired, that valuation is essentially out the door. Yeah, so basically the deal that was, here to value the company at $86 billion, with all the drama that's happened, that's likely not going to. So one OpenAI board member, chief scientist, co-founder Ilya, tweeted an apology. Meanwhile, most of OpenAI's employees threatened to quit unless Altman returns. Still, it's not clear Thrive and other investors will be able to turn back the clock. For starters, some of these same people were hopeful over the weekend and they could get the OpenAI board to back down. Instead, the investors offered Altman's old job to several Silicon Valley executives and ultimately settled on Shear. So it sounds to me like while everyone at the company is like, this stinks, this is stupid, what is the board doing? The board was really just like, who else are we going to hire? Granted, I know you have to fill a role, but it seems like they were more focused on, rather than patching things up with Altman, moving on. So, bad breakup, am I right? For starters, some of these same people were hopeful over the weekend that they could get the OpenAI board to back down. Yeah, basically, I don't know how the board was elected, but it sounds to me like everyone involved, from the investors to the OpenAI employees, really just like hates this board. So I'm really curious like how they even got their positions, and that's a story for another day. For Altman to return, the other board members, what happened? Hold on. Okay, I don't know what that was. And sorry, I don't pay for Bloomberg, so you're gonna just have to look at their offer with me. For Altman to return, the other board members, Adam D'Angelo, co-founder and CEO of Quora, Tasha McCauley, CEO of GeoSim Systems, and Helen Toner, director of strategy, would need to change their minds. Vinod Khosla, co-founder of Khosla Ventures, one of OpenAI's earliest investors, says he believes D'Angelo is dug in. If Adam does what Ilya did, then yes, it's a smooth path. meaning smooth path, meaning flipped back towards being supportive of Sam. So it sounds like Adam D'Angelo is not on board with Sam coming back. So if he doesn't, it's a multi-month legal battle. I don't know about you. As much as I would love to keep doing live streams on the situation, I don't know if we can do it for months on end with all this like rumors floating around and flip-flopping teams. That's like a whole reality TV season. I think it would be cool and best for everyone to just, work things out. Why can't everyone just get along, So some investors are already mulling lawsuits against the OpenAI board, according to people familiar with their thinking. So yeah, think about it. If you were an investor, you invested, your money into OpenAI, and because it was a good business investment, and then the board, who doesn't have any financial, they don't get any financial benefit whether OpenAI succeeds or doesn't. It's people who you have the investors and you have the safety people and the board, two different goals, not necessarily conflicting, but they can be. And yeah, you're seeing what people always said could happen is the nonprofit safety part could compete with the for-profit business part. And yeah, I mean, if you're an investor and you were out tons of money, you'd be pretty mad at the people who did it. And yeah, so it sounds like even though there was rumors that he's going to Microsoft, still very far from that's not official. I mean, not far, but it's not official. I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Altman comes back. It really, to me, feels like Sam Altman wants to come back to OpenAI. That's his company. He didn't create Microsoft. I feel like Sam Altman, or someone like Sam Altman, could have throughout their career taken high-level jobs at big tech companies. You see it all the time. People are high-level, Facebook or Meta or Google or any of the tech companies. They're high-level and they branch off and do their own thing. One, because they can make more money doing their own thing, but two, because they have an idea that they're so passionate about and they want to work for their own vision and kind of create their own and solve the problems that they think are most prominent, and they create their company vision. Whereas if you work under the umbrella of these tech companies, you're working for that company's vision. So I personally think, I don't know Sam Altman personally, but I feel like a mind like that is going to prefer to do their own thing if the opportunity presents itself. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Altman if he just takes the Microsoft opportunity because it's quick and it keeps everyone employed. You don't have to worry about funding right away. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft is a pit stop to keep everyone with the job, and then eventually he does his own thing. But yeah, I don't know. I can't see Sam Altman being like, just an executive at Microsoft. I see him being a company founder, a leader. And yeah, so let's kind of see what X is talking about. And if there's any questions, I know there's only a few of you in the chat tonight. It's Monday, the holiday is coming up. Feel free to put any questions in the chat, or even just say hey, so I don't think I'm talking to myself as much. That would mean the world. Okay, so Sam Altman. So, yep, Chris always has some good memes, or he's a good troll. Sam Altman showing up to his office as CEO on Microsoft. AI remembering that he has to use Microsoft Teams. Again, if you were here at the beginning of the stream, had a fun Microsoft Teams joke. So that's funny. I actually do have it on my computer here. I've just never used it. I don't see a need to. Where are we? Okay, Microsoft deal. David, hello. Hello. Good to see some people out there. Yeah, so anyone who's new in the chat, we've just been recapping what's been going on with Sam Altman and all the crazy news that's been coming out over the last few days. So we went over this story earlier, even though the rumors are right now that Sam's joining Microsoft AI in like a new branch that was essentially created for him. It's still not settled. He could still end up doing his own thing. Okay, I'm pretty sure this person is... Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I think this person is another... Daniel likes to troll. So I've been at market... So this is a joke, by the way. This tweet. Or, I don't know. Is it still called a tweet? Comment down below what you think it's called. I feel weird to say they sent an X. I don't know. I don't think Elon thought super far ahead when he just called it X, but whatever. I've been at Microsoft for 6 years, but sadly that time is coming to an end. The embrace by our leadership of dangerous technologists like Sam Altman has made me realize this is not a company that shares my values. I'm excited to announce that I have accepted a research position at OpenAI. I'm pumped to be part of a team, dozens, that is dedicated to bringing AI into a world safe, slow, measured manner. So, if you're new, basically the rumor is, or if you're new here in the chat, the rumor is that Sam Altman did something not so safe, and that's why he was fired. So he's making a joke, basically calling OpenAI that they're just, it's all over a safety thing. Okay, so we read this story a little bit. Altman is still eager to return to OpenAI. Thrive Capital is looking to get in to buy OpenAI employee shares, still at that $86 billion valuation. So I imagine if that valuation is going to hold, Thrive Capital wants Sam Altman. They're not investing. I doubt anyone invests like that amount of money into a company when Sam Altman's at Microsoft. I think people invest in people. People were investing in OpenAI because of Sam Altman, albeit other smart people there. But when you have like the captain of the ship, Sam Altman, that's how you get those crazy valuations. If Sam Altman's at Microsoft, you can just buy Microsoft shares. So, and by the way, I know we covered Microsoft share price. Microsoft shares. We covered Microsoft share price last Friday, where we saw a little dip, and I mentioned it's going to recover. As you can see, that was the dip Friday evening. It went down from, wait, that's not right. It didn't go down to $314. This might just be an error from Google, but it bounced all the way back. So, yeah, Microsoft will keep chugging along. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't yet, please give this live stream a like. If we can get 10 likes, I can... I'm trying to think of the incentive for 10 likes. I get to eat dinner. If we get 10 likes, I will get to eat dinner tonight. I will not sign off until we get 10 likes. And I will go hungry. So please like it so I can eat. Also, just like it, if you find any of this entertaining. Like it so you help me not feel like I'm just talking into the void. Yeah, that would mean the world. So, yeah, as continuing on. Sorry, a little rant or tangent. Where were we? Okay, we're gonna kind of go through some mentions here. So, yeah, So this is interesting. I didn't know this number. 70% of employees signed a letter threatening to leave if the board does not step down. So they're saying, hey, you guys want to be the board of a company? You'll be the board of a company with nobody working there. Imagine being the other 30%. That's going to be, or like, if you're part of that 30% and Sam Altman comes back, could you imagine the awkwardness? Really drawing a line in the sand here. How many people? Let's find out together. I'm curious. How many people work at OpenAI? Okay, so we got the answer right here. So apparently people have also had this question. The future of OpenAI is in jeopardy after more than 700 of its 770 employees signed a letter on Monday saying they may leave the company if Sam Altman's not back. I didn't realize OpenAI had 770 employees. That's a lot. That's big. I thought they were maybe like 50. So, learned something today. Hopefully y'all did too, but yeah, imagine being part of the 70 that didn't sign it. Must have really had something against Sam. Or maybe, maybe not Sam, but maybe just, I get it too. Like if you might like Sam, but job security is, that's big too, especially this time of year. 700. That's pretty big support. Imagine you're the board member too. Like 90% of your company quits unless you resign. Like it's just a whole mess. Yeah, let's check out more. Here we were. Just gonna play this. Why? No, we'll find a different video. Where are we? Let's check this video out really quick. This is an interview with, let's see. Yeah, interview with Satya. So let's play this, and I'm going to grab a sip of water. Let me make it full screen.
From their perspective, where do things stand? And have you talked with Emmett Shear, the new interim CEO?
Yeah, I've had conversations with Emmett, and again, it's the same thing. There's no real difference there from where we were when we were working with Mira and she was interim CEO, when Sam was CEO, and Emmett. So my message to them, Emmett, is very clear, which is, hey, look, we remain very, very committed to OpenAI and its mission and its sort of roadmap, and they can count on us. And then, as I said, we are also very committed to Sam and Greg and team that want to join us. If they're not at OpenAI, or anyone else who's at OpenAI wants to go somewhere else, we want them to come to Microsoft and continue to work here and in partnership with OpenAI.
To your knowledge, why was Sam fired? And to your knowledge, was he involved in any wrongdoing? Has the board given you a reason?
As far as I'm concerned, we were, as I said, we were very confident in Sam and his leadership team. I've not been told about anything. They published internally at OpenAI that there is not that the board has not talked about anything that Sam did, other than some breakdown in communications. And I've not directly was told by anyone from their board about any issues. And so therefore, I remain confident in Sam and his leadership and capability. And that's why we want to welcome him to Microsoft.
Cool. So, one thing I do want to bring up.
From their perspective.
Oh, sorry. We can get into some conspiracies here. We're in the trust tree, right? Okay, so I have the more. Oh, let me turn down this music. Sorry. Still figuring out the kinks with OBS. Okay, so let's do the first straightforward theory. So here we had Satya Nadella say that he was just as shocked as everybody else that Sam Altman was fired. Now, if we choose to believe it, I mean, he said there was some breakdown, communication issues, and he just found out like everyone else. If that's true, that was a very gutsy call. I mean, it was a very gutsy call no matter how you slice it up. But it was very gutsy to make that decision, knowing that Microsoft would be very upset with it. That's if you think, I mean, granted, the board doesn't have to answer to Microsoft. They can put pressure, but again, the board doesn't have to answer to Microsoft. They're not part of the business side. Microsoft is part of the business side. Now, the dark theory that I've seen floating around is that Microsoft knew and actually put pressure on the board to play a role in this firing because they thought that if they could essentially destroy, not quite destroy, but if they could kind of implode or damage this company, sure, they might lose out on their investment or, however many billions, but they could also absorb this company. That would be the more darker route where they were like pressuring the board. They're happy with this. I mean, think about it. If Microsoft wanted to own OpenAI for all of it, there would be a lot of regulatory issues. And there would also be an insane amount of money, right? It's valued at $86 billion. Microsoft has put in, I think, around $10 to $20 billion. So that would save them $60 to $70 billion. Because if they can absorb Sam Altman and all the employees that they want to take over, they now have all of the OpenAI minds. Essentially, the company OpenAI is now under the Microsoft roof. So it depends what theory you want to believe. Honestly, I think all the chips on the table. People say, we'll never know. A lot of times these decisions have twists and turns and more ulterior motives. I definitely think that the ulterior motives aren't as deep as what I thought they were on Friday. I remember thinking all these employees at OpenAI were in on it and there was a big coup. But based off the response we saw from OpenAI employees, it sounds like they're clear. They're in the dark. It sounds like a lot of them were not in on this. So, yeah, I'll give them credit. Like, OpenAI, I think they're in the clear, or the employees. Microsoft, I'm still not in Satya. Like, I still, at the end of the day, they're, like, I don't have a reason to believe he's lying. But it's just the decision is so crazy. The decision to fire Sam was just so out there. It almost feels like is it like some people, think, is it like a conspiracy theory, like some well thought out diabolical plan, or is it really just incompetence? People confuse those two all the time. You hear it all, that there's some dark theory, and when you really like peel back the curtain, it's like, well, no, actually, like the people running the show, it's like they just didn't handle it well. I feel like those conspiracy theories and incompetence get mixed up all the time. This could just be another one of those situations. But I just feel like someone with as much power as Microsoft CEO, one of the most powerful men in the world, or one of the most powerful people, to think that they're just in the dark about all this, like they're not getting rumblings and no warning. I don't know. I don't know. If you have any theories in the chat or anything you want to add, feel free. I'm open to anything. So, let's just keep moving along. We'll see if we can find any other good theories. There's a lot of good alpha, as the kids call it. A lot of good alpha on the X or Twitter streets. Lots of good theories. A lot of them are wrong, but it's really entertaining to read. Yep, so nearly 700 OpenAI employees threatening to quit. OpenAI employees. Let's see. Okay, a good timeline of events. Yeah, let's play a timeline of events for everyone just catching up. Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. I'll watch this video.
On Thursday night.
And yeah, let me make sure the volume's good.
Sam Altman gets a text from Ilya Sutskever,
All right.
OpenAI's chief scientist and board member, asking to chat on Friday. Friday at noon, Sam Altman is fired by the OpenAI board because he was, quote, not consistently candid in his communications. CTO Mira Murati is made interim CEO. Microsoft, OpenAI's largest investor, found out about the move 1 minute prior to the announcement. Their stock gets crushed. Right after, Greg Brockman, OpenAI's president, is asked to chat, where he's told he's going to be removed from the board but retain his role. Greg resigned from OpenAI in solidarity with Sam Altman shortly after. Tech news and Twitter subsequently blow the fuck up. Sam Altman fires off a few tweets saying how grateful he was for OpenAI
Whoa, language.
and the people, and how he'd have more things to say soon. OpenAI employees start tweeting hearts, supposedly a signal to the board of who would leave OpenAI to follow Sam Altman if the decision was kept. By Saturday, rumors start that OpenAI board is in discussions to bring Sam Altman back as CEO. Sam Altman tweets out a picture of him wearing a guest pass at OpenAI HQ. Microsoft and Satya Nadella lead the charge to negotiate with the board. Board negotiation ends with Altman officially being out on Sunday night and employees streaming out of the office. Monday morning, Twitch co-founder Emmett Shear is named interim CEO. Around the same time, Satya Nadella announces that Sam is joining Microsoft as the CEO of a new AI research group, and former OpenAI leaders like Greg Brockman are joining him. Still, Monday morning, OpenAI employees share a letter with the board where 650 of 700 employees tell the board to resign.
Oh, the clip was quiet. Oh, that's my bad. Let me try this again. Sorry, y'all. Let me pause the music here.
On Thursday night, Sam Altman gets a text from Ilya
Is this better?
Sutskever,
Is the
OpenAI's
volume
chief
better?
scientist and board member, asking to chat on Friday. Friday at noon, Sam Altman is fired by the OpenAI board because he was, quote, not consistently candid in his communications. CTO Mira Murati is made interim CEO. Microsoft, OpenAI's largest investor, found out about the move 1 minute prior to the announcement. Their stock gets crushed. Right after, Greg Brockman, OpenAI's president, is asked to chat, where he's told he's going to be removed from the board but retain his role. Greg resigned from OpenAI in solidarity with Sam Altman shortly after. Tech news and Twitter subsequently blow the fuck up. Sam Altman fires off a few tweets saying how grateful he was for OpenAI and the people, and how he'd have more things to say soon. OpenAI employees start tweeting hearts, supposedly a signal to the board of who would leave OpenAI to follow Sam Altman if the decision was kept. By Saturday, rumors start that OpenAI board is in discussions to bring Sam Altman back as CEO. Sam Altman tweets out a picture of him wearing a guest pass at OpenAI HQ. Microsoft and Satya Nadella lead the charge to negotiate with the board. Board negotiation ends with Altman officially being out on Sunday night and employees streaming out of the office. Monday morning, Twitch co-founder Emmett Shear is named interim CEO. Around the same time, Satya Nadella announces that Sam is joining Microsoft as the CEO of a new AI research group, and former OpenAI leaders like Greg Brockman are joining him. Still, Monday morning, OpenAI employees share a letter with the board where 650 of 700 employees tell the board to resign.
You know, not to brag, but I think we were correct here. 700 out of 770. Just saying. If you want the facts, the real facts, you're always going to get them in AI Marketing Creator Tools. Just saying. But anyways, moving on. This is a good breakdown. Gotta make sure. I'm gonna give this creator a like because I got something out of value. If you find any value in this chat or in this video, feel free to drop that like. Really shooting for 10 likes here. If we can get 10 likes, remember, I get to eat food. Dinner. So, please. I'm hungry. Okay, so... Okay, I'm not going to touch that one. OpenAI investors consider suing the OpenAI board after firing Sam Altman. Yeah, that's going to... I'm really not looking forward to all the legal... It's never fun to really just follow lawsuits. So-and-so suing who. It's... Yeah, not ideal. So let's see. So this has a lot of likes. Let's check it out. Sam Altman knew bad things happen to you in business. The most important trait for an entrepreneur, and according to him, he's showing it now.
The most underrated quality of all is being really determined. This is more important than being smart. This is more important than having a network. This is more important than a great idea. The hardest thing about starting a company is the level and the frequency of bad stuff that happens to you. And most people that are good in really other ways eventually just get killed. The company gets killed by stuff going wrong. And, so much about being a successful entrepreneur is just not giving up. When we have funded people who have a great idea, perfect background on paper, and a great product and still failed, it has usually been that they're insufficiently determined. So I think this is the most important, non-obvious skill of a founder. Of course, you need a good product and a good market and to be smart, but that's really obvious. The degree to which being like a 3 or 4 standard deviation outlier on determination is a required skill of a CEO is not something that was obvious to me when I started.
I don't know about y'all, but that clip was super inspiring. Shout out to all company founders out there. That is, I can't say I founded my own company, but I can only imagine the amount of grit it takes to do something like that. So, yeah, shout out to, if there are any company founders in the chat, shout out to y'all. Okay, so Sam Altman, raising at a $90 billion valuation. Satya Nadella, how about I just acquire the... Yeah, see, this is the theory I was talking about. How about I just acquire the entire company for $0 and give you a blank check? Sure, that works. We'll need to stage an elaborate public spectacle. Do you think you can piss off the board? Can you imagine if that's how it went down? I mean, I doubt it went down exactly like that. But can you imagine if there's a variation of that? Ugh. That would be insane. That would actually be insane. Also, it's kind of crazy. Like, a lot of the ideas that I've mentioned today, obviously I've been doing a lot of reading, but I haven't seen a lot of these thoughts and theories. Some of them kind of just like come up with like just thinking about the situation. It's crazy that there are a lot of people who are kind of like aligned on the same sort of wavelength there. I think that's kind of just telling of the situation where we're at. Boosting this... I don't know about all this. See, yeah, Satya Nadella, after he saved $10 billion invested in OpenAI, hired Sam Altman and Greg Brockman at Microsoft, made sure everyone worked on Monday. Boss moves. I mean, yeah. If it does work out, like, I don't know. Also, it's kind of crazy to think that Microsoft could move so quickly in hiring Sam. I get it. It's like, if I was a CEO of Microsoft, maybe one day. I don't have like necessarily like a business background, and I wasn't first in my class, and maybe one day. Never want to shut the door on any dreams. So, if I was the Microsoft CEO, I don't know if I would be able to. and Sam was free, I would call Sam up and be like, hey, like if there's any position you want, you're that type of person, like I'll just make a job for you. For sure, I would do that. But I mean, as CEO, I don't know if there's any other hoops I'd have to go through to just create a whole division, because he's not just going to be taking on Sam and Greg, but all the employees under them. So that with that, there's going to come a tremendous amount of costs, salaries, benefits, what projects are they doing, how much money do you have to put in. AI is very expensive. Just ask Google. Google has been spending a ton of money as well into their AI with Google Bard, which we cover on the channel. So, by the way, if you're new here, we're AI Marketing Creator Tools. We do reviews for all the AI tools out there, do tons of Bard content. Bard has not really marketed themselves. Like, they essentially do the same thing as ChatGPT. You can integrate Bard in Google Suite, but it's still just, they've been behind OpenAI, and a big reason was how expensive everything is. Because you have to have a whole branch and all these employees. For Satya to make such a quick decision on hiring Sam, we're talking from Friday night to Saturday, to have that whole offer put in place, we're talking within 48 hours. I don't know how you do that in 48 hours to make that offer. I feel like you still put out a feeler, Sam, like, hey, let's work together on something. But to just offer a full position for Sam and Greg and probably promise a bunch of things underneath, yeah, it's like, I don't know. There's a lot that is going in. A lot is going into these decisions, and yeah, I doubt it's so easy. Oh, my dog just came to say hello. Hi, Bo. We're a very authentic live stream here at AI Marketing Creator Tools. My dog Bo is very shaken up by the news, and yeah, he was also, yeah, he can't. Okay, bye, Bo. Bo didn't really want to talk too much about OpenAI apparently, but yeah. So I don't know if you're Satya, I don't know how you put together something so quickly without having an idea. And by the way, my team members, I am reading through the chat messages. Yeah, I noticed as well. Yeah, I think I think we're on the right track. So yeah, let's keep the show rolling. Yeah, Sam Altman name's been on everyone's lips this weekend. You've probably heard it more times than yours. Yeah, I'm probably one of the people who said it the most. How much do you know about his extraordinary journey from coding at 8 to leading Y Combinator and spearheading OpenAI? You know what? This is a nice little change. Let's do a little history lesson on Sam Altman. April 22nd, 1985, Sam Altman was born in Chicago, began coding at just 8 years old, using his first computer, a Macintosh, which AI tinkered with and learned to code on. 2004, Stanford University, but it was only a short stint at the renowned college. After 2 years, Altman dropped out with his two friends to launch a startup. I swear, if you need to make it in the tech world, the best thing you can do is go to an Ivy League or, at the world-renowned college and just drop out after a year or two. If I ever have a kid that gets into a high-level school like that, I'm telling them to drop out after 2 years to be successful. I will argue with anyone on this topic. I will tell my kid to drop out. Sorry, tangent. Moving on. The startup was Looped, a location sharing app for closest friends. Loop was part of the first batch of Y Combinator companies alongside the likes of Reddit. Altman's startup got $6,000 in funding to launch and grow. Sounds really small. Carrie, reading your comment, I first learned about him after watching his Lean Startup video series when he spoke at Stanford. Ooh, that's interesting. I actually haven't seen that. But if there's any clips or videos, we want to link them in the chat or something, I can maybe pull it up here on stream, kind of just like take a quick look. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, but I'll have to check that out. I'm interested to learn a little bit more about Altman. So yeah, interesting. Sharing app with closest friends. So he was on the right track, because now I know iPhone just has it in their phone. I imagine Android probably has something similar, but yeah, I know there is a pretty big market for it. 7 years later, Loop was acquired for $43 million with a valuation of $175 million, but the startup never took off. Okay. So this is 2000 and... So I don't know when the startup essentially got the funding round, but... Oh, so he worked 7 years. Wow. At that startup. That's a long time. Sorry, I got to sneeze. Ow, that one hurt. Okay. Later that year, Altman founded venture fund Hydrazine Capital. He brought $5 million of his own money from the Loop acquisition and raised a further $21 million from other investors, including Peter Thiel. Okay. 2014, Altman was asked to lead YC by founder Paul Graham at just 38 years old. Mark Andreessen of A16Z said, "Under Sam, the level of YC's ambition has gone up 10x. He also returned to Stanford as a professor for the class How to Start a Startup." Isn't that something, going back to the school you dropped out of to teach? You should be like, hey, I'm teaching this class, and if y'all just drop out in the middle of the semester, like, that'd be funny if that was his advice. Like, hey, I'm going to teach y'all how to start a startup. By all means, just feel free. After like 5th or 6th class, if you want to just get up and leave, like, that's cool. That'd be kind of funny. Probably didn't happen that way, but I'm going to just tell myself that's what happened. Okay, so 2015, he partners with Elon Musk and co-founded OpenAI. Yes. So this is a big story a lot of people don't know. The Sam Altman, OpenAI, Elon Musk relationship. There's a lot of stuff on it, but it's not really talked about that much anymore. So this was when, the nonprofit, mind you, this is 2015, nonprofit was focused on building AI in a way that's safe and beneficial to humans. OpenAI's main goal is to make sure AI doesn't wipe out humans. If you can hear my dog Bo, I think he sees something outside. So, sorry, I cannot get him to stop barking at the things outside. Yeah, so this picture here, now we know that Altman and Elon Musk have no issues, and we covered in Friday, they love tweeting about each other. But Elon Musk's biggest issue is that he founded or helped fund Sam Altman with a lot of money back then, when Sam's like, hey, we're nonprofit. But we're open source, and we're going to make sure our main goal is AI doesn't wipe out humans. So if I get Elon's standpoint, if I give this guy a ton of money, this is what I'm expecting. Open source, make sure AI doesn't kill us all. That changes pretty quickly when we go to 2019. As OpenAI began to ramp up, Altman steps down from YC to focus on OpenAI. OpenAI switched from a nonprofit to a cap profit company, and Altman took over as CEO. He met with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella to land a $1 billion investment. Okay, so I want to explore this just a hot second. If I was Elon, I would also be mad, because I gave all this money and I was told there's going to be... I'm not getting what I was promised. And yeah, it's just like it completely changes. And that's a big reason why Elon Musk stepped away, because he saw the changes that were happening in the company, the shift to private source, closed source, not private, same thing, but yeah, closed source as opposed to open source. And their main goal is just build AI. And Elon is obviously concerned. It's yeah, he has good reason to be concerned. If you have a company that's just privately building AI and you don't know what's going on, it kind of goes against why you invested in the first place. Okay, 2021, Altman founded WorldCoin, a new global cryptocurrency project. Yes, so if you are new, let's look at CoinGecko, WorldCoin. So WorldCoin kind of it made a ton of news recently in the last year. Yeah, this is when things started to really hype up. It really went off in August, went down, now it's kind of back. It's 164, so not super high level. And then market cap 262 million. In crypto terms, not crazy, not bad. And then I'm also seeing the charts that my team is sending me. Yes, I'm looking at the same thing. Love it, and very, very exciting. We're on the up and up, as the kids say. Or actually, that is probably not what the kids say, but anyways, moving on. Yeah, so Sam Altman, WorldCoin. This was, I know there's a lot of stuff that's said about it. It was a little controversial. Security concerns. It was like about some sort of like identification and using blockchain to verify identity. Like people were scanning their eyeballs or something. I don't fully know, but yeah, it was a really big project. So it seems like anything he touches does, people will invest. In 2021, also saw DALL-E launch to the public to a usually positive reception. So if you're a loyal follower to the channel, which by the way, I notice a few new people are coming into the chat, feel free to say hello. Feel free to not say hello. If you want to give a like, that would mean the world. But we're AI Marketing Creator Tools. We cover all the AI tools out there, and we've featured DALL-E a lot. We actually have some videos coming up on DALL-E. We've been users of it for a long time. DALL-E in the past wasn't bad. The images that you see here were probably some of the better ones. I can tell you that a lot of the images DALL-E made were not that good, especially compared to other tools like Midjourney. But with DALL-E 3, the latest one, things are insane. But yeah, they were one of the leaders and early adopters of AI art. So they're always kind of at the front. It seems like Sam Altman's at the leading the charge on new technology. And 2022 saw ChatGPT launch, a similar reaction, breaking record. Yeah, so I think that's really when almost we got our channel, like our YouTube channel start. Right around, or the idea to start the channel was when ChatGPT came out. I mean, 1 million users in 5 days. I think Instagram was like a month. Netflix was more than that. Like the rate at which ChatGPT came up was insane. Okay, and then ChatGPT 4 in March, and that's kind of when they announced ChatGPT Vision, plugins. We cover that on the channel as well. The ChatGPT 4, for text purposes, there's not a big difference between 3.5 and 4, at least for most questions. Yes, I've seen the test. If you're ChatGPT 4 is smarter, but the main thing is it can do things, especially with like ChatGPT plugins. Okay, yeah, so interpret voices, files, and images. So we're getting on that. Okay, so on start of November, this was just a couple weeks ago, the beginning of the end for Sam Altman, as you could say. First Dev Day, it saw some developers around the world join the startup for a slate of AI announcements, including GPT-4 Turbo, Assistants, and DALL-E 3. DALL-E 3 API is big. To just be able to connect to the art maker is just going to be insane. Oh yeah, Instagram Threads. I'm seeing your message, Carrie, in the chat. Instagram Threads broke the ChatGPT record. Yeah, that one. That one, it might have technically broke the record. Threads, I'm still confused about Threads. I feel like no one uses Threads. I feel like it was just really easy to migrate Instagram over to Threads. People signed up. I signed up. And then I went there and I was like, I don't know what makes this thing so good, but yeah, that's just, I don't know. But yeah, ChatGPT, I think, it has more staying power, I'd say. Okay, and then we get to the milestone, or not a milestone, but where he's fired. Then, yeah, we're getting into the newer stuff we've already covered. So, yeah, if you're just tuning in, this is Emmett Shear, former Twitch CEO. He is now the current CEO, as everyone from OpenAI has basically said, if Sam goes, we go. Or Carrie, I'm seeing your comment. They had more than 100 million users sign up in less than 5 days. Yeah, just easy, but it was meh. Yeah. Yeah, it was really easy to do. Just when you log in Instagram, it says like sign up for Threads. I did it. I click a button and then I'm like, I don't really see the point in it. So pretty quickly after, people are like, this is a flop. Like, I don't even think it lasted more than like 2 weeks, the hype. Yeah, so it's really interesting to see the staying power of social media. I feel like I hear alternatives for every social media pop up. People talk about making new social media alternatives for everything. But the staying power of current social media apps, it's really hard to predict and to see a new one come up and disrupt a current one. I don't know, just the way things are, I guess. Okay, so yeah, this is a good thread for keeping us up to date on everything. Got to make sure to go give it a like. By the way, if you're new to the stream, please give this a like if you're getting any value out of this. And then also, let me see. I think I just found the video of Sam Altman. Oh, this is cool.
Can you guys hear me? Is the mic on?
Oh, sorry. This
No?
is really loud.
Maybe you can ask them to turn it on. Maybe we can get a big... there we go. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to take a quick, 1 minute water break, and then I'm going to just play this lecture for you for a bit.
Maybe we can get a bigger auditorium. We'll see. So welcome to CS 183B. I'm Sam Altman. I'm the president of Y Combinator. 9 years ago, I was a Stanford student, and then I dropped out to start a company, and then I've been an investor for the last few. So at YC, we've been teaching people how to start startups for 9 years. Most of it's very hands-on and specific to the startups, but 30% of it is pretty generally applicable. And so we think that we can teach that 30% in this class. And even though that's only 30% of the way there, hopefully it'll still be really helpful. We've taught a lot of this at YC already, but it's all been off the record. And this is the first time that a lot of what we teach in YC is going to be on the record. So we've invited some of our best speakers to come and give the same talks they give at YC. We've now funded 720 companies. And so we're pretty sure that a lot of this advice is pretty good. We can't fund every startup yet, but we can hopefully make this advice very generally available. Guest speakers are going to teach 17 of the 20 classes. I'm only teaching 3. Counting YC itself, every guest speaker has been involved in the creation of a $1 billion+ company. So the advice shouldn't be that theoretical. It's all from people who have done it. All of the advice in this class is geared towards people starting a business where the goal is hypergrowth and eventually building a very large company. Much of it doesn't apply in other cases, and I want to warn people up front that if you try and do these things in a lot of big companies or non-startups, it won't work. It should still be interesting. I really do think that startups are the way of the future, and it's worth trying to understand them. But startups are very different than normal companies. So over the course of today and Thursday, I'm going to try to give an overview of the 4 areas that you need to excel at in order to maximize your chances of success at a startup. And then throughout the course, the guest speakers are going to drill into all of these in more detail. So the 4 areas. You need a great idea, a great product, a great team, and great execution. These overlap somewhat, but I'm going to have to talk about them somewhat individually to make it make sense. You may still fail. The outcome is something like idea times product times execution times team times luck, where luck is a random number between 0 and 10,000, literally that much. But if you do really well in the 4 areas you can control, you have a good chance at least some amount of success. One of the exciting things about startups is that they are surprisingly even playing field. Young and inexperienced, you can do this. Old and very experienced, you can do this too. And one of the things that I particularly like about startups is that some of the things that are bad in other work situations, like being poor and unknown, are actually huge assets when it comes to starting a startup. Before we jump in on the how, I want to talk about why you should start a startup. I'm somewhat hesitant to be doing this class at all, because you should never start a startup just for the sake of doing so. There are much easier ways to get rich, and everyone who starts a startup always says, that they couldn't have imagined how hard and painful it was going to be. You should only start a startup if you feel compelled by a particular problem, and that you think starting a company is the best way to solve it. The specific passion should come first, and the startup second. In fact, all of the big successes we have at YC followed this. So for the second half of today's lecture, Dustin Moskovitz, the co-founder of Facebook and Asana, is going to take over and talk about why to start a startup. We were so surprised by the amount of attention that this class got that we wanted to make sure we spend a lot of time on the why. Okay, so the first of the 4 areas, a great idea. It's become popular in recent years to say that the idea doesn't matter. In fact, it's almost uncool to spend a lot of time thinking about the idea for a startup.
Okay, so that was, I mean, can you imagine looking back on this class and Sam Altman was your leader? And then same with Dustin Moskovitz. Also, shout out, use Asana at work. Great tool. Can you imagine being in class and this is your professor? This is 9 years ago. I wonder also how many of these videos came out how many of these views came out in the last year. I can only imagine, wow. I feel like I'm looking at a piece of history. That's one thing that's cool about the modern internet and YouTube. And you can just view historic videos. Just up there. But yeah. So pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that, Carrie. This is that was really cool to see. So great advice, even in just the beginning. Never start a startup just to start a startup. That's pretty cool. All right. Sam Altman better bring Clippy back. Yeah, I mean, first order of business. Sam, if you're in this chat, let's talk. You know what to do. Okay? This was clearly Mid-Journey. The people in here, yeah, that's Mid-Journey. AI art tool, by the way. Past weekend, CEO Satya Nadella's problem-solving, negotiation, leadership capabilities, full display. As he navigated Sam Altman's firing from OpenAI, despite having invested $10 billion into OpenAI, they didn't hold a board seat and were blindsided. Even worse, they weren't able to bring him back even after a weekend negotiating with the board. So they're saying Satya essentially turned a highly criticized minority $10 billion investment into what is effectively full acquisition of the $100 billion. Yeah, see, I think a lot of people are saying this, where Microsoft is now, they were in a position they only had $10 billion invested and only partial stake. Well, now they get it all. So, yeah, interesting. Those people at Microsoft are smart. I wouldn't put it past them. I know they hired the new interim CEO, but again, only interim. Hard for me to imagine he stays if all the employees basically say, dude, we don't want to work for you. I mean, would you, if you were that CEO, would you really want to come in and be like, all my employees hate me? I don't care how much money they throw at you. You want to work together with people and at least have a really, you want to have a pretty good relationship. You don't want it to be this whole awkward thing. I'm sure Emmett Shear can find other companies to run that have less drama. So, yeah, if Sam wants to come back, I think the position is, if Sam can come back, I know Sam wants to come back. If Sam can come back, position's his. I'd bet good money on it. Okay, here. I don't know where we got this from. I don't know if this is real. I don't want to peddle fake news if this is fake. I know that these are the names of people. Yeah. I mean, it could just be a Word document, so I'm not gonna spread it. X OpenAI, haha. Sam Altman walking to Microsoft offices tomorrow. Oh, I guess he didn't even make it a full year with ChatGPT being out? Wow. I didn't know that. I mean, I know ChatGPT's been in existence for over a year, but yeah, public, wow. Oh, yeah, this is a good scene from Entourage. I don't think I can play it just because there's too much swearing and I don't want to get DMCA'd or copyright claimed, so I'm not going to keep playing it. But we all know that clip pretty well, probably. Entourage. Oh, yeah, so there was... This was the interaction that everyone was... Before they knew that Satya wanted to bring Sam Altman back, they were thinking that Microsoft might have ousted him intentionally, and they were really criticizing this interaction right here.
How is Microsoft thinking about the partnership currently?
Look, first, we love you guys.
Oh. How is Microsoft thinking about the partnership currently?
Look, first, we love you guys.
Oh.
Yeah, so again, kind of just... I mean, at this point now, it seems like I don't think there was that ulterior motive, but... Or, like, I don't think he wanted Sam to be ousted, but... I definitely think Satya likes Sam. Like, they're friends. I could see him... They want to work together. Or he wants to work together. Just in, Sam Altman now exists in a quantum superposition state where he's both CEO at OpenAI and not. Okay, I imagine this is a higher level coding joke that I don't get. Google HQ listening to Google Meet call between Sam Altman and OpenAI board. Also, great publicity for Google over Microsoft with the whole like Google Meet thing. I mean, not to keep bringing up the whole Google Meet thing versus Microsoft Teams, but if you're the person at Microsoft who's in charge of that product, like that has to get to you a little bit, right? Like, do you think they know that people would much rather use Google Meet? That has to be like a little annoying. Like, you go to work every day, tell people you work at Microsoft. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I work on Google Meet. Like, it's kind of like you think all Microsoft products should just be awesome, but the Microsoft Teams is not it. Sam Altman password. Yeah, so I noticed he gave Ilya an extra few hearts. This is going to be a really interesting relationship to watch. What happens here if they work together, partnership, enemies. But Ilya got 3 hearts. Everyone else got 1. So let's see if we can pull up in a clip here. I don't have a subscription to Bloomberg, so we might not be able to get it.
Requires the right perspective.
All right, let's see if I can click off of ads. Oh, see. Or if it's one of those where it like waits when you click away. Well, we're almost done anyways. Can you imagine that it says you need a subscription after making me watch the ad? That'd be diabolical.
Profit will protect their interests going forward. Number 3 is this entire underlying model market in the AI will be reshifted because the market share occupied by OpenAI will be probably divided, and a few other opportunities will come in for other players in the market. The most important point in this expose a very fundamental problem, which is our society now. Pretty much every aspect is run by tech companies. Tech really impact our life, our business, and yet a lot of those services almost looks like public digital infrastructure controlled by a few privately owned companies. So where does the society go to build a good digital society with the private interest versus public? And I think that's the core of the OpenAI saga.
I mean, Microsoft's really only strengthened its hand out of this whole operation. So if you're saying that there are concerns around OpenAI, around the future direction of AI, what exactly do you think needs to happen so that it's something that's equitable, accessible for all?
So I think in terms of the board of OpenAI in the past few days, they received a lot of criticism in terms of how they handle the whole thing. I used to be, during COVID, I was the executive chairman of the Commons Project, which is a tech nonprofit. So from tech nonprofit point of view, my unpopular opinion is that you could criticize how the board handled the situation, but I understand why they did it. Because OpenAI initially was a 501c3, which is a nonprofit status in the U.S. Their mission in terms of bringing safe AGI is legally binding. So the board is not responsible for the investors or the individual or their employees, is solely to the mission. So there could be something that happened they've seen that's against the nonprofit mission. And then they click the panic button, although they probably didn't see through the implications and the future 3 steps, what might happen. So I think in terms of why we did it, the board did it, is understandable. But going forward with Microsoft, I think right now Microsoft is clear winner. Satya is the king. He, in terms of like less than 48 hours ago, looks like he was going to lose his investment. But now he controls OpenAI. He controls whatever Sam and Greg are going to build within Microsoft. And he has the most power, not only just in terms of capital, but also just by shifting the computing power of Azure. Both systems is going to be using Azure. So by shifting the compute power, he actually have even deeper control. So the fundamental question coming back again, once again, the most consequential technology that's impact our society today, coming back to we all have to rely on the conscience of Microsoft. We hope they're good for the humanity, but do we really feel comfortable with that? I think.
So I really like the point brought up about. I just had a brain cramp. You were watching a brain cramp on live TV. Good thing I'm not on live TV. Sorry, but no, about with the nonprofit aspect of everything, to think that they have a legal obligation to make sure they're acting in safety interest. I'm really starting to believe that there was some sort of safety concern. And by the way, if anyone in the chat, if there's anyone in the chat, feel free to please drop your opinions on, what you think the board did. Were they right? Were they wrong? Should they have handled it differently? Should they have been more transparent? Should OpenAI rehire Sam? Yeah, that's a good question. I think make sure to check out our poll. We just linked it in the chat. We've got only a few more minutes here, and want to just kind of get some opinions and have a little bit of discussion about everything. But crazy to think that how this all just happened so fast. I really wonder. I want to see if I can find that interview. Sam Altman breakthrough. Okay. So here's another clip that's been going around a lot. And yeah, as you can see, 2 days ago, Sam Altman casually mentions that OpenAI recently made a huge breakthrough that pushes the frontier of discovery forward, the fourth such breakthrough in its 8-year history. So let me play this.
Like 4 times now in the history of OpenAI. The most recent time was just in the last couple of weeks. I've gotten to be in the room when we sort of like push the veil of ignorance back and the frontier of discovery forward. And getting to do that is like the professional honor. Like 4 times now in the history of OpenAI.
Let's listen to that one more time.
The most recent time was just in the last couple of weeks. I've gotten to be in the room when we sort of like push the veil of ignorance back and the frontier of discovery forward. And getting to do that is like the professional honor. Like 4 times ignorance back and the frontier veil of ignorance back and the frontier of discovery forward. The veil of
ignorance back.
Ignorance back and the frontier of discovery forward.
Frontier of discovery. Interesting. The veil of ignorance. So basically, to me, that sounds like, hey, let's try some risky stuff. Let's play around, experiment, and not worry so much about the safety and try to just like make a breakthrough. I think this sounds a lot like the CEO of the Immersible. Remember that? I remember that. Probably said the same thing. So who knows? Maybe Sam Altman. I mean, everyone thinks he's good right now, right? Like, I tend to think seems like a cool person, means well, smart. But I mean, yeah, that quote, veil of ignorance, discovery forward. Who knows? Maybe it's not like a societal threat, but I mean, we have heard of CEOs getting a little overconfident in their products, and they confuse, they get so focused on trend setting and breakthroughs that they forget the safety. So hopefully that's not the case, because unlike the submersible, a lot of bad AI stuff would actually affect, everyone, not just people on the submersible. So, but anyways, we only got about 5 more minutes. So if you have any questions and you want to link them in the message in the chat, we can have a little discussion. If you're new, we've just been going over all the drama. Sam getting fired, potentially rehired potentially getting rehired by OpenAI, then potentially going to Microsoft, and now he's potentially going back to OpenAI. Story, I mean, they're probably going to do a news drop on Thanksgiving. That's my best guess, when everyone else is kind of busy. I feel like they love doing Friday or like news drops when everyone's away. So, yeah. So let's look. It's like more Sam Altman tweets. I want to look for some like latest. How about that? I wish there was a way to sort by latest and top. Elon, if you're in the chat, yeah, that'd be something to work on. Because I've read a lot of these already. Yeah, let's look. Let's see if we've heard anything. Let's look at the other people. Okay, so nothing crazy from Sam. Let's look at Greg's Twitter. I feel like Twitter might be one of the first places we'll actually, or X, will see things. Salesforce reached out. Will match any OpenAI researcher who has tendered their resignation, full cash and equity, to immediately join our Salesforce Einstein Trusted AI research team. So everyone, it's like everyone has their AI division. It's like sharks circling the water. OpenAI. Sure, my team really appreciate it, but we're with Sam, Mira, and Greg. So it sounds like Mira has now gone from. At first, people were kind of pitting Sam and Greg against Mira. Sounds like Mira was also like, yeah, I'm on Sam's side. So OpenAI is nothing without its people. No, I don't want to reply. My bad. Likes. Exactly. The most important assets of knowledge-based company are not the building, servers, and software, cash on hand. Like I was saying earlier, if Microsoft were to lose chatgpt or OpenAI, or the people, having the brand means nothing. The brand is the people in that in the office. It's not something you can just copy and paste and replicate. I want to be back in the Slack channel where they plan what message they're all going to post next. That's funny. Yeah, because they're definitely still having discussions. He's talking about this message, how everyone was sharing this one. There's definitely some form of communication going on with OpenAI employees and to have that united front. So, yeah. Interesting. I'm curious what ChatGPT uptime. Let's look at ChatGPT uptime. I wonder how that's been today. Because, yeah, still. Yeah, I wonder how traffic's been since they fired Sam. Satya, my top priority. Okay, I've read these tweets. Okay. I think the OpenAI board should resign. So this is another high-level OpenAI employee tweeting out. And yeah, so I feel like we're not really finding too many new things right now. It's getting a little late East Coast time. And I feel like news breaking, barring anything crazy, I don't think we're going to get too much more info tonight. So to kind of recap the series of events, Sam Altman got fired on Friday. he was potentially going to be rehired on Saturday and Sunday, and have the board resign. But turns out Sam Altman is either going to be working at Microsoft, or he's going to still be holding out and wait for OpenAI. So where we're at right now, we're waiting to see if Sam leads his team to the next place with Microsoft AI teams, or if he's going to come back and kind of just take over the helm back at OpenAI and say sayonara to the board. So it sounds like there's one board member, D'Angelo, I think. That board member is still hung up on bringing Sam back. Well, I'm sure if anything happens over the next couple of days, we'll be posting about it on the channel. So if you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, check out our other content, our other live streams. We're trying to do live streams every week. And yeah, thank you for everyone who commented, showed some support in the chat. I really appreciate it. So I wasn't just talking to an empty void. It really means a lot to myself and our team. So that about wraps things up for me tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.